Working from home presents the perfect opportunity to get on with those nagging chores, such as putting on a load of laundry or painting your nails. Others take a much more relaxed approach to home working. More than 80% of hybrid workers watch television while doing their day job, for an average of 2 hours a day, according to a survey by Toner Giant. 1 in 10 workers in Britain say they regularly take a nap when working from home, according to a survey by Rainstorm, an energy drink company, with the most popular period between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Some take the opposite approach and work 2 jobs simultaneously. Since the pandemic upended how we work, there has been a steep increase in playing virtual workplace hooky. A recent WorkHuman study has found that more than a third of UK workers fake productivity. Employees working remotely deploy a wide range of tactics to appear online to bosses, some more blunt and lo-fi than others. A health sector worker who works remotely told The Telegraph they wiggle their mouse a lot when work is slower, and take the opportunity to watch TV. "It keeps my system active so no one knows I'm not really working," they said. You can also buy mouse and keyboard jigglers to do it for you. Many have taken to Reddit to share tips, which include starting a presentation or slideshow to keep a computer screen awake, and start a meeting with themselves in order to appear online on chat programs. Others suggest opening a document and putting a weight on the spacebar so it appears to be writing. Companies, however, have got wise and are fighting back. Many bosses survey staff when they're working remotely to ensure they're actually working, often using software to track productivity. This practice rocketed during the pandemic, and in 2022 60% of employees said they thought they were being monitored at work, according to a survey by the Tuck Union. The proportion of employers tracking workers is expected to rise to 70% by 2025, the management consultancy Gartner found. Bosses have used surveillance software to check on staff with keystroke logging, screen monitoring, time tracking and chat monitoring. These programs, some of which take screenshots of workers' computers, can crack the tactics used by employees, such as running hours-long PowerPoint presentations. Some businesses use software that can take photos of employees via their laptop every few minutes and use their webcam to monitor them. Others offer productivity scores on workers, depending on their activity levels. Those mouse jigglers can also be outwitted by software because the cursor activity doesn't look normal. Algorithms can also see when a mouse is active over the same web page for hours at a time. Terramind, a software firm that can identify repetitive cursor movements, found that out of 1 million employees sampled, 7% appeared to be faking activity at work. This year, one American bank fired more than a dozen of its workers for pretending to work. Some software also offers the ability to log into an employee's device remotely or track an employee's tone and mood, and judge how useful their conversations are. One such program, Aware, can sync with popular workplace chat tools, such as Slack, to check the conversations of specific employees. It also claims to use artificial intelligence to track employee sentiment and monitor for certain behaviors. Starbucks, AstraZeneca and Nestlé all use software to monitor chats, which can also identify bullying, harassment and apparent discrimination. Elsewhere, one major consultancy company checks the IP address of remote workers to check they are not working from the beach. Employers that want staff back in the office are also using programs to monitor attendance. PwC, which has asked employees to go back 3 days a week, said it will track where its staff work to enforce the rules. Some staff are already taking matters into their own hands, and their tactics are getting more high-tech. A finance sector worker told The Telegraph that they, having some systems literacy, were able to bypass surveillance software by finding out which processes it tracked and looking for holes. If the software only surveils processes called Chrome.x, Opera.x, Firefox.x, you make a copy, rename it Excel.x, or something and you're good to go, they said. Others have been able to bypass the top-end software, which might survey keywords and take screenshots, by creating a virtual machine on the work computer which is untrackable. Labour's promise to strengthen employment rights could affect this kind of surveillance software, by ensuring that bosses negotiate with staff and unions over its usage. Already, a patchwork of legislation, from GDPR to Employment Rights Act provisions, place limits on what bosses can do when it comes to digital surveillance. Amit Raj, founder of the Links Guys, who runs a fully remote company and uses tracking software, says even the most intricate tracking software wouldn't be able to account for some remote staff's get-out-of-work ploys. There will always be some people who don't work. While I'm not worried about employees watching YouTube for a few minutes, you can't really track someone if they're watching something on a second device and not working. This hasn't stopped Raj from looking into how to ensure staff stay on track. The software he uses to survey staff, apart from senior hires, includes activity tracking, screenshots, time tracking, and the ability to check breaks. He describes how this software's screenshot application has caught someone who just kept a work program open all day without doing much. But this requires an investigation with HR to confirm if that worker was actually doing anything, and he questions how useful some of the tracking software is. It can't tell you if they're actually on a computer, he says. Raj also uses surveillance software at the interview stage to catch out job seekers using so-called virtual candidates or ChatGPT to complete tasks. Of course, there are limits. Experts in HR worry surveillance might end up with unproductive consequences, impacting innovation, and sparking burnout and affecting well-being too. Others have questioned if they can truly track how work, works. Do they take into account paper notes, meetings, having to use the toilet? Cybersecurity firm Kaspersky found that almost half of employees were staying logged onto work devices longer than necessary in response to their employer installing surveillance software. Separate research by Glint into employee burnout at the start of the pandemic found it had doubled at a time when demand for surveillance technology was soaring.